not adding at the end. So safety should not be thought separately. It should be a part of the business, and then you have the productivity, quality, and profitability, everything. And that is a global experience. Yeah.
Perfect, sir. Perfect, sir. Muthusekhar sir, what is your point of view on the misconception manufacturers have safety and productivity?
So first of all, good evening to everyone. Thanks for bringing me here, and I will start with Dr. Sen. What he said: the pinch of salt. Without salt, you cannot eat the food, and the food will be wasted. So neither the productivity nor the quality will be there. I think he rightly put it that it's a pinch of salt, but it is needed. So the misconception, I just want to tell in a single line, it is a lack of commitment of the leaders.
Yeah.
Because India is, most of the things are top driven. So when it is top driven, it has to be, the leaders have to drive the safety. They think that chalta hai, it will be taken care on its own. The production people will take, the quality people will take, or there is a safety team, the safety team will take. But in my opinion, the leaders lack the commitment, and the management should look into the safety aspects, and they should champion it. If they champion it and top driven approach is there, then the safety is part and parcel of the productivity as well as efficiency also.
Okay, Prashant sir, what is your opening statement on this particular aspect?
Yeah, thank you for getting me as well here. And I think much is already said by Dr. Sen and our Muthusekhar sir. But what I would also like to just add on is what we, as rightly said, that it is not a separate function. It has to be an inbuilt function. It has to be a process in part. Like in 𝒊𝒑, we say that quality is not a separate function. Quality is a continuous process which starts from in to exit of the machine, inward of the raw material to exit of the machine. Everything is, quality. So similarly, safety is what is supposed to be everywhere. At the same time, I also like to reiterate is like sometimes what we culture that we create safety officers or the safety compliance people as if they are like, the bottlenecks or the ones who will stop, your activity, rather than they should be represented, or they should promote themselves as people who support the function, who support the activity to be happening much more faster, much more reliable, and much more in a smoother way, rather than they just coming and looking at the compliance part. And just to add on that to an example is, I used to, as you all know, that I have been promoting flashback arresters and gas-related safety for more than 18 years now across industry. And many places, when we put up a flashback arresters in a system, the little bit of gas supply is inhibited because the gas has to pass through the flashback arresters. Whereas the operator sometimes feel that he's not getting enough pressure for doing the cutting process. The only job is to go and increase the cylinder outlet pressure at the regulator, whereas he feels that these equipments are stopping his activity or slowing down his activity. So many times what they do, I used to see in many places, that there would be a flashback arrestor and they would say ki ye flashback arrestor se sir kuch gas rukta nahi. And then once I inspected that, opened it out, and I saw that all the internal, the safety features of flashback arresters were removed. So what does that mean? Compliance is done. When the safety officer comes, he sees a flashback arrestor in place, whereas it is not actually in functioning. So we have to see that it is not like a policeman, just asking for your, for your, what we call as your license or your PUC, traffic policeman. He should be a traffic facilitator who is trying to promote a smoother traffic in terms of smoother production in your organization, rather than just asking for your licenses and asking for your compliances. So if we built in that culture, I strongly feel that they can go hand in hand and they do not work in separation.
So very interesting perspectives coming from the horse's mouth, I can say. And it seems there is already an agreement that safety is not just about avoiding incidents. It can directly impact operational performance, quality, everything goes hand in hand. So let's begin with the foundation of every safe workplace, that is its people. So Dr. Sen, I would like to start with you. Despite increasing automation and digitalization, accident numbers remain concerning. Where do you believe the biggest safety gaps exist today? In technology, processes, or human behavior?
Yeah, very nice, very important question, and I should say it is a tough question as well. But I think you see, it is not in one factor. It's a multitude of factor, because, and you have mentioned a few. You see, behavior continues to have its own role, but I must say, DG Fastly now, DG OSH, Government of India, Ministry of Labor, they signed an MOU earlier for the Vision Zero, quite more than a decade ago, almost 1.5 decades. And I am a part of that Vision Zero sort of journey. As mentioned by my previous speakers, the leadership plays a big role. Okay, and the first golden rule of Vision Zero is stands on leadership. So if the leadership is committed, like if you see the example of normal visitor going to say Singapore, very nearby country, you see his behavior, whether he will litter the road, he will, and if he does, he will get a consequence, right? And people are already told that if you are going to Singapore, be careful. And for that matter, any international travel people, takes, or international projects, or international companies, they work even in international companies within India when people are in. So what happened? We are actually mostly aware the facts, but then so it has something to do with the behavior. But I will also bring out one important aspect, maybe connected to technology and behavior, is the skill. You see, the person sometimes are not having the right knowledge, or right sort of understanding about the process, and that is because of a large size. I was talking to the other side. I was in Cyprus last week, and I was giving a presentation. I mentioned that in India, around 70 million people are in construction, and that is more than population of couple of European countries altogether. So you see, so the large number of people we have in certain segment or certain sector, and the large turnover or turnaround. So that is also a big challenge, because people keep on changing, particularly in informal sector, and the number of employees, as you know, more than 80%. Of course, statistics varies. A large number of people in an informal sector. So the accidents, and even in factories and projects, uh, not all of them are permanent employees. There is a large number of contract employees which come in. So the skill, the technology, the behavior, everything has its own role. But I would put the leadership on the top, because if the leadership is committed, if the leadership wants, like your financial performance improves, your productivity performance improves, your human performance improve, like different sort of
Right.
parameters. If you're using, your safety performance is bound to improve if you monitor it, not after accident, but as a part of your daily monitoring, in the boardroom, when you are seeing all other figures, all other parameters. If you review it as a part of your business, you will definitely be able to have your profit without any blood. I say like that.
Point
Okay.
taken, sir. So while talking about the leadership, we all know no MSMEs or SMEs are the backbone of Indian manufacturing sector, or even for any country. But now many SMEs in India today struggle with limited resources. That's the biggest challenge. So what are some low cost but high impact training interventions that can significantly improve safety outcomes?
See, actually, you see, Indian Chamber of Commerce, for example, I am, since I am the chair of the OHS Expert Committee of Indian Chamber of Commerce, and other chambers, have a lot of support for the MSMEs, and also Government of India has sort of windows to help them. But at least from Indian Chamber of Commerce, I can say that if there are supports required, and if it is properly channelized to the through the chap through the chamber. Indian Chamber of Commerce is more than 100 years now, and then it has just completed 100 years. So I think the EHS experts who are volunteering, they are not paid, but who are volunteering can come together, and we also have academia in this committee. So I think we can provide support to MSMEs. I mean, there may be a sort of a mechanism which has to be drawn, and that has to be a matter of discussion between the chamber. And there are other professional bodies who are willing to volunteer, because there are many senior people who have done their part of life journey, but they want to give back to the society. Only thing is that you have to bring those like-minded people and the MSMEs who may not be able to pay a formal fee, but they can give a small honorarium and or free, sometimes a free, can be organized to develop their competency and the gap, filling the gap and bringing resources together and helping them to connect with the resource where it is available at most suitable manner. So that is possible.
Is there anything from L&T EduTech? Are they doing any initiatives?
L&T EduTech is doing primarily in three areas. One is for preparing the next generation, professionals. So it is having a very robust College Connect initiatives, where the main objective is to bring the industry expertise to the academia in a sort of proper manner, so that it become a part of the curriculum. That is one. We are also doing for example, the another vertical we are doing is through the enterprise, and we are actually training, like I had yesterday been to Durgapur, so we have delivered a program for very senior level management for safety leadership, and today my colleague is doing it in Barnport today. So we are doing it for industry, to bring the global experience and global knowledge with our tie-ups with international organizations as well, like with our international collaboration, and also how we are connecting with other bodies like ICC, American Society of Safety Professional India chapter,
Right.
and things like that. So, and also the Vision Zero, which is a global initiative, as I mentioned, primarily by DGUV of Germany and other international bodies. So we are doing something, but if there is a need, for the industry, that we can connect and develop a module, because it is for mutual interest. But skill development, skill strengthening, skill assessment is a strong area for us. We are also doing skill assessment and evaluation of things for many of the businesses, and in fact some government organizations. So all these things can be done for safety. That also can be done for safety or quality or whatever
Right.
vertical it is required. So we can help, or we can sort of facilitate from our side. Yeah,
Thanks.
thank you.
I think hope soon you will start something on safety. And
No, we are already doing for safety,
right.
skill development and leadership training.
Okay.
And like we are giving international program for NIBOSH certification, office safety and ergonomics,
Wonderful.
scaffolding safety.
Okay.
Like that, we have some curated program, but we are also doing specific industry-based program. Like, we have some 7, 8 current offerings,
Right.
apart from the academia safety programs, which is 40 hours spread over 5 weeks or more longer, depending on the organization's requirement. But we can also have a specific programs. For example, if somebody wants on fire safety or rigging or lifting tools and tackle, or gas safety, for example, 𝒔𝒆𝒑, we can
Sure.
collaborate
Sure.
and bring a standard program, certification program for 3 days. If that tailor-made program also can be done, and we are doing already. But we have
Great.
already some standard program which is ready to deliver, and we are already doing it in multiple industries and organizations. Yeah.
I appreciate that, sir. And I'll come back to you, sir. So a strong safety culture needs to be supported by equally strong operational practice. So let's now look at what safety means on the factory floor. Muthusekhar sir, you work closely with manufacturing operations where productivity and safety have to go hand in hand. From an operational perspective, how can manufacturers improve safety without creating bottlenecks that affect production targets?
See, first of all, the company should not think safety is a cost center. So and safety is not clashing with productivity. I think this misconception and this negativity should be removed. So this is an enabler. So that is the way it has to be seen, number one. And number two is it always starts with education, training, motivation, awards. Have you ever seen, awards for safety? I think this kind of practices have to start inside the organizations. Way back 30 years back, CFOM collections used to be there, because those days GST used not be there. So in my previous company, I created an award for the CFOM collection, because that's the thankless job, and people would not collect the CFOMs, and that
Yeah.
will be a penalty for 10%, 20%.
Yes.
Where you need to pay back to the government. And so that's where I created, and that started a lot of motivation. So everybody thought that, okay, a very easiest thing, I can't achieve the target, which is steep targets, but at least these collections I can do. This is a simple collection, it's a paper, it's not even money. So that is the way you need to create inside the organizations motivation. Of course, training have to be there, the leaders' commitment, which I already spoke. And Mr. Sen mentioned about the construction industry. I don't know how many people here know that the oldest industry in the world, the number one oldest industry is construction industry. In construction industry, even today we have highest accidents, irrespective of so many artificial intelligence and many new gadgets, many new digitalization have come, and many advanced techniques have come. But even then, the highest accidents are happening in the construction industry. And one point which I want to sum up: people are thinking that safety will do a little damage on the production, will do a little damage on the time loss. Maybe it will cost more. But unfortunately, one point people are not thinking, I'm talking on industry, I'm talking on the company side, is it will spoil your reputation. It will spoil the reputation. I think that is the seriousness which the people should start thinking. So this is my sum up.
Right. So how important is predictive and preventive maintenance in reducing accidents, equipment related? No.
See, preventive maintenance is like assets lifespan increase. So the huge cost of the machine and getting an ROI for a machine which is costing about 10 crore is not easy to get ROI in 2 year, 3 year. Aisa wala projects nahi hai. So each and every machines what we are buying, automation. So this all costs huge and maybe important. When these machines are huge and cost, where the recovery part is 7 years, 8 years, some machines are even 10 years. So only by doing the preventive maintenance, I have seen the forklift trucks, they try to buy some spurious or some cheaper tires. So it goes into maintenance again and again. Same is the case with oil. They think that, okay, oil I can buy from, not from the recommended oil, I can go for another oil. I tell them very clear that, okay, what is your problem? Your problem is price. I will try to help you with the oil company to get you a better price. Or we will do some kind of planning that, other companies also can share. The best is to go by the company recommendation. So if we do all this, I think the increasing the span will take place. Of course, the electrical faults are identified. Then avoid overtime labor. I think this is another area. Emergency repairs can be avoided. There are always some midnight calls that there is a problem. There is a where we need to bring in a labor force and then we need to correct it. So all this can be avoided.
Right. So recently you have joined Rotomotive. So if I have to ask you that, how does Rotomotive integrate machinery safety with operational efficiency in its manufacturing processes?
So first of all, I'll give you a small information about Rotomotive. Rotomag Group is a 1,680 crore Indian company which is based out in Gujarat and having a factories in Delhi, having a factories in Pune. Multiple business opportunities. They're into solar pumps, they're into inverters, Of course, I will talk particularly about the geared motors, gearboxes, where the factories are in Gujarat. The one surprising good thing what I saw was they had a maintenance calendar. So it was something like a SOP written down. So if an SOP written down and SOP is followed, and there is a reporting system and the management and the leadership, of course, now I have to get into it and collect all the data, because I'm hardly 2 weeks inside the organization.
Right.
But this calendar was available. So when a calendar is available, I think the people will follow it. This is the maintenance activity. They have to follow it on a certain stipulated time. So when the SOPs are written, I think it will be a increasing of the life of the equipments is possible, avoiding breakdowns, and definitely the safety features will be embedded.
Right, sir. Just to sum it up, sir, for organizations beginning their safety transformation journey, there may be many in this particular panel as delegates. What are the first 3 actions you would recommend for them?
The first 3 action is SOP should be in place, and downtime must be calculated, because everything has to be cost related, everything has to be time related, which will help to educate the team. And third is definitely the leaders have to involve and drive this. So these are the 3 things which is required. One is you make an SOP, so which is very clear how you have to operate. Like Prashant was mentioning about the violations in the operations. 90% is you want to safe trip and then use it. You want to bypass and use it. I think this kind of things have to be avoided.
Right.
We were talking of Europe. In Europe, this bypass culture is not there at all. You cannot do bypass.
Right.
Like in my previous companies, if the maintenance door is open, the machine will not work. So that is a kind of future. So I was even telling that why, if the seat belt is not one, then why the engine has to start? Today, two-wheelers have come that if the side stand is not removed, the scooter will not even start. So I think this kind of functions are required to bring in the discipline.
Right. So the point is, safety mein jugaad nahi chalega, bas.
No way.
Right, sir. So those are very valuable points raised by Mr. Muthusekhar, sir. So safety becomes much more effective when it's embedded into day-to-day operations rather than treated as a separate function. Everyone must have agreed. So we have discussed people and processes till now. The third pillar of manufacturing safety is technology and equipment, where engineering controls can make a significant difference. So to start with, Prashant, sir, your experience with manufacturers across industries gives you a unique perspective on how technology can improve both safety and productivity. And we all know cutting, welding, and thermal processing operations involve significant risk. What are the most critical safety practices manufacturers should prioritize in this sort of environments? So if you can unmute yourself.
So thank you. Yeah, thank you, Subhajit. And let me come to this. As we rightly understood from our co-panelists, Sen sir and Muthusekhar sir, that 3 things are extremely important. I mean, the leadership and the human behavior, tools, tackles, and equipments, the technology part, and then the training part. So you have asked me the second important thing. So let me just give a little elaboration on that, and then we can come to the other 2 ones as well. So as far as possible, definitely till the time the human behavior is the most important one. But we should try to do it. In fact, it cannot be 100% achieved, but we should try to implement as much as technology possible in our systems, in our equipments, in our machineries, so that they even overcome the human mistakes. Because apart, even being a very cultured part of in any of the organization, there are many possibilities of a human mistake which has happened unknowingly, or without any deliberate effort, or without any deliberate reason not to do so. So in that aspect, if we consider just a cutting operation as such, so let us consider the basic manual cutting operation at the moment. first of all, the right equipment can be, managed. So we start with the people handling the cutting torch. Here we have been promoting the 3-pipe cutting torch systems, which almost 90% reduce the chances of the backfires happening, because the mixing of the gases, the fuel gas and the oxygen, happen in the nozzle rather than in the handle or in the place where the operator is handling the torch. Then we come to the hoses. Generally, you will see that many of the places people will save, they will spend everything around for a lot of gardening work around the plant, but inside they will save everything on the hoses. Hose is a rubber item. It has a life of its own, irrespective of the time it has been used for. It is so even when you just bend the hose, you find the cracks on that. Actually, it is not supposed to be used, because there can be micro leakages, major leakages, which can lead to fire. Then we just move up, from the gas lines. Then the flashback arrestor is a wonderful device, but at the same time, we should see that those are the right flow flashback arrestors. Many times for bigger operations, people use smaller flashback arrestor, and then they, put all the blame that the flashback arrestor is, controlling is not giving me the adequate gas supply, and that is how my cutting operations are not happening. My cut quality is reducing or something like that. It is not the flashback arrestor which was a problem. It was the wrong size of the flashback arrestor which was the problem. But again, when we do, let us spend a little time, energy, and effort on some study. And these flashback arrestors, if you are implementing, which you should implement now, almost 80% of Indian organized players implement, they need to have certain standards. So worldwide, earlier there was a BAM standard, which is now converted to a UBEC standard. We should have at least those standard flashback arrestors. Otherwise, just using it for a formality and just an unbranded or, untested flashback arrestor from a very small manufacturer who is not doing any safety compliance to that is just a formality. And when actual day will come when it has to do its function, it will not do so. Then comes the regulators. The regulators come from, they're available in the market at 1,000 rupees. And let us say a messer regulator may cost 3,000 rupees. So primarily the customer may feel, oh my God, it is costlier. But at the same time, we should consider that a product's cost is not the cost of the product alone. It is the product's total cost of ownership. So these regulators will blow off. They will not have safety valves. They will get, unusable in 6 months, whereas the other regulator of messer is working for you for, let us say, 2 years, 3 years, then practically it is paying off its costs. So, right investment on equipment is definitely really, really important. Let me not be very rude in telling, but I have been visiting many plants across the country. And when I visit, especially some owner-based companies, I sometimes feel very sad, because the owner drives into the workshop in an Audi, and then on the way, I've been waiting for them. They will talk big about their car, that it is not Q3, this is Q5. It has this feature, that feature, safety features. And then when you walk through the plant, even the operators are in sleepers, not even in the, a safety shoes. So, you can spend another 1 crore rupees on your car, but you cannot spend 20,000-30,000 rupees on some safety gadgets. So if MSME people, or I jokingly, many times I'm very friendly with them, and they say कि अरे यार ये तुम्हारा पूरा equipment तो 25,000 रुपए का आ रहा है. And that time I tell them कि सर ये exactly आपकी भाभी की जो सिल्क साड़ी है मेरे भाभी की, उसी की कीमत का है, और वो तो एक ही शादी में पहनेंगी और फिर उसको कबर्ड में चले जाएंगे. Whereas this will implement, वो ऑपरेटर का सोचिए, उसका think about his family, think the overall culture in our plant. And then they many times after this dialogue, I just get signature on my RO pads. But that's the lighter part. We spend heavily on capitals. We don't spend on services and equipments which are meant for safety. If we go to our machines also, maybe Messer is termed a little costly equipment as compared to their competitors, but then there are a lot of safety features we inbuilt on machine. Rarely ever you must have heard any accident on a Messer cutting machine, right from the hose, the crimping, the pressure testing, to the safety string that anybody crosses the particular area, immediately the activation happens and the machine stops. the emergency switches, the electrical panel safety, all the parameters are taken care. So my submission is that as definitely cost and investments, it is not that everybody has flowing money. We need to make a balance of that, but it is worth to invest in such things as well, which are going to give you a long-term benefit, not only rationally. When you implement a lot of safety features in your plant, your employee motivation level is also very high. That is something which we don't count for. That is never, it is not tangible. An employee being feeling that his life is being cared by the management would give you 20-25% more output. I challenge you, you do some study with some experts, as compared to a demotivated, not cared employee, no safety compliance in the plant. So we may reduce their salaries to save costs, rather than we invest on these things. Their motivation itself will give you more productivity. That I have seen across my 32 years moving around not less than 500-700 plants across India.
Right, sir. And I have witnessed that in your Coimbatore facility, the product and the facility both. So meso cutting system serves manufacturers across industries where cutting and fabrication processes can present significantly safety risk. Based on your assignment and experience with customers, what are the most common safety challenges you see on shop floors, and how can modern cutting technologies, like couple of things you have mentioned, right, sensors and all, can improve both worker safety and production performance? So,
yeah, of course, basically my experience is more on the machine side and the gas equipment side, gas supply system side. So I would be mentioning few of the things. Is first of all, again, it apart from tools and tackles, the overall culture, the overall training, and as rightly said by Sen sir and also reiterated by Muthu sir, the leadership approach. Many times even the plants, the leaders walk in, they don't themselves wear a safety shoes. That is a culture. Safety cannot be preached, it has to be demonstrated by people to own it. But as far as messer is considered, what we have seen is people are abiding now. We are giving, even after the machine installation, we have do's and don'ts. We have, as also touched by you earlier, lot of preventive maintenance activities can support in terms of long-term productivity and safety compliance. So PM results in safety compliance, also increases the life and uptime of the equipments, which further increases your productivity. So what do we finally all want? We want ROI, return on our investments that we have done. Everybody needs a higher productivity. So for that, it is just not pushing alone that works. So as far as equipments are considered, let us say machine side, we have to see all the utilities are safe and are adequately supporting the machine. We have to see all the electrical safeties are in place. Gas safety is in place, because machines require gases, machines require electricity, all that in place. The mechanical safety is in place. Greasing, other things which are mandated as an SOP are in place. And then we find that things are moving forward. Many times we just do not spend on PMs cleaning the machines, which yield to small incidences, small mishaps, near miss incidences, which definitely can be provided. And I still say that 80% of our customers are meeting them. Welding and cutting is a different part, the manual part. We all know welding, these days also, as you rightly said, that more and more mechanized cutting is helping. People are shifting to laser. Even Messer supplies large amount of laser machine. But let us also be very important to understand that laser is definitely not so good for eyes. It is detrimental to the retina. Whereas if you go to an exhibition, there is no compliance in India. You will see a lot of people doing laser cutting machine, cutting openly. And then we see that as well. That is definitely not good for the eyes of anyone. They need to have an IP glass protection. There are recommended glass protections to them. Possibly we should not use open, laser machines in our plant. Let us say India, there are almost 70-80,000 laser machines working in small and bigger. Even you walk to a small industrial area, you will find that there are a lot of people doing small cut works for architectural things, gate manufacturing. So many places laser machines have come, especially the imported Chinese lasers. and 80% of them are without enclosures. And people, because they don't immediately put you in trouble, you feel like, oh, it's safe, but it is not. It is slowly deteriorating your retina, and those are the areas that should be taken care. While plasma cutting, the plasma welding and cutting, the other compliances, right from the DIN standard glasses to your gloves to your heat shield, all are available into the market, and we should see that how do we use it and comply with them for the employee safety, for their motivation, for the productivity, everything together.
Very important as well as serious questions raised by Prashant sir. So one last question for you, that now today's point of discussion is safety and productivity. So the question is, how can manufacturers balance the pressure for faster throughput now with the need to maintain strict safety standards around industrial environment and equipment?
My belief is totally independent events, misconception that this will hamper the other one. And if we just follow the three-leg principle as suggested by Kane sir, employee motivation and compliance. Compliance comes secondary to me, motivation comes first. Training and right equipments, engraved part of the whole system, will definitely yield to higher productivity. And in fact, the compliances and things and the culture benefits our productivity by 20% and not rather reducing it by another 20%, is what is my experience over the years, maybe 32 years now in industry and moving across India and also in many parts of the world.
Thank you, Prashant sir. Right. So, delegates, we have heard three complementary perspectives today: developing skilled people, strengthening operational practices, and leveraging smarter technologies. So, I would now like to bring all our panelists back into the conversation for a broader discussion. So, sir, if you had to choose one metric that manufacturing leaders should track more closely to improve safety performance, what would it be? To start with Dr. Sen.
Okay, so yeah, a good question. I think the leadership walk or leadership talk or leadership review, either of this the way organization wants to, or the time, the number of hours spent. eh, of course, a leading indicator, because we will not like to get into the number of incident or number of accident investigation we did, but number of time I have reviewed, like I am reviewing, say for example, sales every day or every alternate day, my inventory cost, my staff cost. So I have to also review safety in a frequency which suits the business requirement, and that is left to the business leaders. But there has to be a committed time, a quality time, and a frequency which is commensurate with the risks and commensurate with the you can say the global requirements. So, and also I also would like to say in this context, because this is very important, that the global GDP loss as estimated by ILO is 6%, and that would be much more in an economy like us. So it is more important for the business leaders to review, because there he may be bleeding 10% of his of his GDP, because of the small business interruptions, which may not culminate to an injury, but there may be interruptions which is maybe near miss or some sort of thing. So we also must importantly note that many of the incidents which happen are not considered as a near miss, because that's considered as a business thing. But once it is properly leveled and investigated, the root cause can eliminate a lot of business inconsistencies, lack of communication between the department, between the functions. So I think one parameter which we come back to the question is that they should allocate a time or a frequency and a review process. For example, in a couple of organizations, they have to have 2 observations a day. That is, of course, at a working leadership level. But if at the top leadership level, it may be a time they are spending for discussion and for review. So that may be one parameter which I will mention. Yeah.
Right. Muthusekhar sir.
You asked for one, I will say
Right.
3.
Bonus.
Training. Like, rose is a rose is a rose.
Right.
Training is a training is a training.
Absolutely. Very well summed it up, sir. Right. Prashant, sir.
Yeah, I mean, what you rightly said, training and other things, it's so nice. And I would add one thing is awareness, awareness, and awareness. And that is where I feel, like what we have chai pe charcha. I just got my green tea, so it remembered me ki like what we have chai pe charcha. We can in the plant have safety pe charcha sessions. At the same time, one thing that I found in one of the articles and I liked it, we people are very good at finding faults with others.
Right.
So if there is a cross-functional, cross-departmental discussion that the one department suggests safety improvements for the other department, they do it very well. When we see at ourselves, many times we feel, "अरे सब तो perfect है, हम लोग तो बहुत ध्यान रखते हैं," but others, we generally find very good improvement in other people. So if that typical human behavior can be used for our safety improvement, I think that's worth it to have like that sort of a behavior. And I saw two companies implementing that, and they have one department coming and suggesting the safety improvements in the other department, and they had many more points as compared to what the own department found, that how they are going to improve safety at their place. So that way safety pe charcha can really help our companies to develop an overall awareness as well as culture that I'm suggesting.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely, sir. So, one more question is, if each of you could recommend one immediate action that every manufacturing facility could implement next month to reduce accidents, what would it be? So, Prashant, sir.
Maybe I'll continue with the same one, but at the same time,
Right.
maybe all three together, maybe we all three agree that, the complete culture, bringing from top to bottom, providing, budgetary and other allocation as far as the tools and tackles is considered, buying safe equipments so that the source is addressed, and then training, as rightly said by Muthusekar sir.
Muthusekar sir.
I would say SOPs should be in place. The operating procedures for the machines, needs to be redrawn, needs to be rewritten, and it needs to be followed. I think, which is very simple. It's not a, very great thing to be done. It is not going to be very cost. This thing, like for example, when you start the machine in the morning in the shift, 5 minutes to check these parameters. 5 minutes to do the cleaning, and 5 minutes to do the briefing to your team, and this 15 minutes is enough to follow the procedures and then start the operations. I think per shift 5 to 10 minutes or 15 minutes following the SOPs is not going to affect the productivity, whereas it is going to enhance the productivity. And more than that, like when Prashant was mentioning about the employee well-being, the employee well-being will be felt when the organizations are following this.
Right.
See, two things are important. Right. You need to have a good factor, but you also need to have a feel-good factor. So feel-good factor will come when you practically do it.
Right. I'll come back to that, sir. Dr. Sen, sir?
Yeah, it is actually, you see, I mean, many things can be done. One possible thing is, is a walk around and the risk assessment before starting any job. The moment you do the risk assessment, the standard operating procedure will come, the awareness will come, the basic training, maybe on-spot training will come. So before we start any job, an on-spot risk assessment, if it is not done prior, if it is done prior, better, that can be reiterated. But before we start an activity on the shop floor, there could be a culture that the workmen pause for a second or for a 2-3 seconds, decide the assess the risk, and then proceed. Like look, stop, look, proceed. So something like that is a simple thing. And the firefighting, in case of an emergency, also the same thing is done. The people come, they assess, they discuss, and then they start. So it's sort of ground level, but then that has to be backed by the technology, has already been mentioned, the awareness and the training. But one thing that can be started is a on-spot risk assessment before the work is actually executed.
Right, sir. So coming back
Yeah.
to Muthusekar sir's feel good factor. So again, I'll ask to each one of you. Could you remember or recollect from your long, diverse career that if you could remember one particular incident where you felt good after taking action or being proactive in taking any safety action? Prashant sir, if you can start with that.
Frankly, maybe one incident immediately I'm not remembering, but again, I would like to take this opportunity. I'm Dr. K.N. Sen. I have worked so closely with him last 15, 18 years now that we met together and we started implementing. He was the safety head for the biggest division of MESA, which was doing for L&T, which was doing the most critical and highest tonnage fabrications, and which is where gas cutting and welding were together, and we together implemented the complete training modules implementation that also brought in huge safety compliance and standards increased for L&T as well, and brought in the business for Messer as well. It was not that we were doing for charity. We used to get our orders of equipment, but and that culture what sir has set in L&T, even today, every January we conduct approximately 200 to 250 training programs last 15 years in Larsen and Toubro Limited ECC division and across other divisions only in the month of January. And this is not for today, this is being done now for more than 15 years as initiated by us. So when I look back and see that L&T is, in one of the articles I was reading that L&T is rated very high by some agencies on overall fabrication safety because they are the biggest construction EPC contractors of India. And when I saw that article, and it was talking about the complete safety implementation and including fabrication, welding, and I, so I was feeling happy in the corner that जैसे वो राम के सेतु में जो गिलहरी का योगदान माना जाता है, तो maybe that small contribution of mine was also in this journey of L&T, which still continues. So that makes me feel good. I'd just like to add, Subhajit, that all the I mean, our attendees today, any of them, if they, we don't want to add cost, hence we conduct all our safety trainings free of cost. So if they are having any gases in their plant, they're using gas equipment, they're doing fabrication activity, they can just reach out to MESA in any of the platforms. And I would ensure that our trained safety professionals are at their door as per their convenience to conduct the safety training.
So in the Q&A box itself, there is a feel-good message for Prashant sir from Siddesh. So he's writing that
yes.
I've been associated with MESA products for more than a decade and have witnessed several incidents related to conventional gas cutting operations. Over the years, nearly 6 incidents have highlighted the safety challenges associated with observation. Based on my experience, I strongly recommend the adoption of MESA products to enhance safety. I think that says everything. So that actually improved.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you, Siddesh. Makes me feel good, and we would work with you. Get in touch.
Right. Dr. Sen, could you remember that, or you might be having many more incidences?
Yeah. And thanks to Prashant for mentioning about it. Like, we started the safety month almost 35 years before, and then Prashant and team and got, involved, and they have been very meticulous in giving this, training. But I have one important thing to mention, but it has got two branches. One is a safety innovation school in Hajira, another in safety innovation school in Kanchipuram. So actually we visited a facility of GS ENC in Korea. And after we came back, L&T entrusted with the responsibility of building this. And I am very happy that these two safety innovation schools are running very well. And, since I have been associated with establishment of this, of course, during this establishment and initial first training, we also took help from messers for the demonstration and all. But keeping that aside, this SIS, which is we call Safety Innovation School, is a great satisfaction for me in my last, and because we are touching lives of many people, supervisors, managers, and engineers, and leadership people. And when they go back, they are again, communicating this. So we are multiplying the safety knowledge propagation through this facility, and that is a great joy when when you listen good feedback about the people who are visiting and learning on a regular basis from these two, you can say, landmark facility which L&T has created. One is the western part and another is in southern part. Thank you. And I invite, I mean, corporates and who, I mean, with proper sort of arrangement to visit this facility and, and learn from there. Yeah. Thank you.
Right. Muthusekhar sir, your feel good story, because it came from you.
The feel good factor. When I was in Pune during the COVID lockdown, when it started, my company made an SOP. Again, I am coming back why I am stressing the word SOP, standard operating procedures, which was made, and the world was clueless. And we started the factory because we were supplying to pharma companies, we were supplying to food industries, so we cannot stop our production. We were almost the first one, probably after the first week of lockdown, with all the collector permissions, we started the factory. So we had some safety procedures and following SOP, which was written down, documented, well, circulated to the team. This was published by the FICCI magazine, which I still remember, on all India basis. It was published in the month of April edition. So which I felt that, okay, something you do which is, getting published for the whole world. And that too, the entire document, it is not just a few points. The entire SOP, I think it was consisting about 4 or 5 pages. That 4 or 5 pages was part of the booklet.
That's huge, sir.
Excellent.
So my personal feel good story is, we did almost 60 episodes of safety series. We have now renamed as Save Bharat series, and it's related to manufacturing safety, electrical safety, construction safety. And last week we did one on electrical safety, and thank God that in many of these occasions I got Muthusekhar sir and Prasanth Chaturvedi sir and in the panel. So that's my feel good factor. So
maybe this is the 6th one or 7th one.
Yeah, I need to count it now.
That's great.
Right. So thanks for everything, sir. And we are almost at the end of the discussion. It's 4 o'clock up. So I would like to conclude with one quick final takeaway from each one of our panelists. In 1 minute, what is your most important message for manufacturing leaders who want to make their facilities safer while maintaining or improving productivity? I'll start with Muthusekhar sir first this time.
See, basically, you need to create a culture. I think that's where the training and the communication, leaders' involvement, all that happens. If and culture is set in an organization, and if there is a passion towards the safety, if there is an importance taken, not just protecting the machine, not for the production or the productivity, but it's a well-being for the your colleague, your neighbors, or your even if something happens in the factory, it can even affect the surroundings also. So all this, if it is taken care, I think there will be a good change. So probably it's a cultural change in a single word, if you want me to sum up.
Right, sir. Dr. Sen, sir.
Yeah, I think it's very important to look at the employee well-being and the health part, because the global morbidity, mortality figure related to work-related incidents is more inclined to the health issues. Because of lack of epidemiological data in India, we talk about safety, we only talk about the incident and injury. But the silent killers is the health issues in the industry. And that may be, musculoskeletal, that may be respiratory, that may be the skin related and things like that. So I think my view will be that we should look more about the employee well-being, the welfare of the people, we being a welfare state. And the directive principle of Indian Constitution is also talk about safety in a very broad manner. So I think if you like me to summarize, the employee health and well-being should be a business, should be considered, as you started, with a business enabler, not sort of a hindrance. So I think the business leaders of MSME, they should realize and focus how the productivity and profitability can get increased through focus on employee well-being and things like that. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Prashant, sir.
Yeah, I think much of the points are covered, but as rightly said, they should definitely keep continuous assessments. And as we have marketing budgets, different budgets for the organization, there should be safety budgets as well, that, okay, we will spend this amount of money, maybe it's what percentage, 0.5, 0.1, whatever it is up to the organization. And they should see that, are they climbing the safety ladder continuously? Or they going down? So at least because there is no absolute safety according to me. Safety is a continuous process, and we have to keep reinventing and see that. And as rightly said, just one liner to add, that it's not mortality which is important.
Right.
Even a bruise or a twist in his leg, and the main operator doesn't come tomorrow, if he has a sprain in his leg because of a fall, actually is your productivity loss on an equipment that only he is supposed to do the assembly, and he's not coming to the office for next 2 days. So it is not just measurable in these formats. So there are many things which go unnoticed, unmeasured. So the overall culture of safety is the right thing, starting from the top.
Right. Right, sir.
Yeah, maybe a small point which I want to add what Prashant said, like a small sprain, but that person would have, employee would have, committed something to his family, committed to something to his children, taking them out or spending an evening with them. If that gets spoiled, because I practically know that I used to travel a lot, even now I am traveling a lot. I used to come on a weekend, and my family is already ready with the program to go somewhere. I say that I am tired, I am not well. So they say a statement that this is not a hospital for you to take rest. So I remember that statement, and then what Prashant said, came to my mind. Yes, even a small sprain is also not right. I think the organization should take care of it.
Right. Feel good factor again. Good messages, complimentary messages coming from Mr. Parasar, Deepak, Siddesh. They are happy with the panel as well as the panel discussion. Mr. Janki Raman saying that he had, he worked with you for a brief time, and he says that if we work closely, automatically productivity and quality will improve.
Because we set up a safety committee there, and
Right.
Janaki Raman was part of the quality. He was heading the quality, so he was part of the safety committee.
Thank you, Mr. Janaki Raman, for being a part of this delegation today. So, thank you, gentlemen, for sharing your insights and practical recommendations. Thank you so much, Muthusekhar sir. Thank you so much, Prasad. Thank you so much, Dr. Sen. Right?
Thank you.
Today's discussion reinforced an important message. Safety and productivity are not opposing goals. Whether through workforce training, operational discipline, preventive maintenance, or smarter technologies, manufacturers can create safer workplaces while improving performance. Sincere thanks to our audience for joining us today, and we hope the insights shared today help you to take meaningful steps toward building safer, more resilient manufacturing operations. I would also like to thank Mr. Cutting Systems India for partnering with Mojo for Industry to bring this important discussion as technology partner. Thank you all. See you soon. Till then, stay safe, stay compliant, and make manufacturing safety a shared responsibility. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sen.
Thank you. Bye-bye.